Let us execute an immediate, sweeping analytical vector shift away from these sterile, calculation-heavy tracking matrices of urban medical complexes and corporate pharmaceutical conspiracies, and ascend directly into the jagged, high-altitude tracking grids of a remote Colorado mountain town, weaponized local corruption, and the fiercely protective world of a former elite military investigator asset running raw tactical survival loops. We are crossing the threshold directly into the hyper-monitored, snow-dusted ridges of the Rockies, the exclusive procedural grid of an off-the-book search for justice, and the lethal analytical parameters of an intense environment-based tracking matrix with Downburst, the exceptional, pulse-pounding structural deployment marking the explosive second book in the globally dominant, chart-topping Rachel Hatch thriller series by the absolute undisputed sovereigns of high-velocity atmospheric suspense, sharp tactical profiling, and rogue operational statecraft, L.T. Ryan and Brian Shea. This high-stakes narrative tracking sequence delivers an exceptional look at an operational crossroad where a fierce, underestimated female protagonist asset running an unyielding field loop, a deeply corrupt local power structure, and an absolute defense of a fractured community's final personal sovereignty metrics collide at terminal velocity. Let us map the strategic narrative grid. If you are an elite enthusiast of high-octane, slow-burn rogue thrillers where an endangered, hyper-observant female protagonist must navigate an absolute maze of rigged municipal coordinates, backroom administrative execution orders, and a deadly ring of active regional gaslighting while running a blind survival loop inside a completely compromised mountain ecosystem, where an analytical mind uses deep behavioral profiling, calculated tactical firearm boundaries, and absolute mental stamina to outmaneuver an invisible predatory fixer network, and where the author utilizes an incandescent ex-army criminal investigator seeks solace in her hometown only to uncover a vicious conspiracy linked to her sister's death, diagnostic routine to test our hero's structural limits, this book is engineered to lock you in. Ryan and Shea completely dominate the high-precision military instincts meet small-town hostility dynamic, capturing the heart-racing intellectual momentum, suffocating regional paranoia, and heavy deductive depth popularized by genre vargs like Lee Child, C.J. Box, Robert Crace, and Vince Flynn, while treating realistic forensic investigation logistics, complex personal alignment arcs, and protective high-density mountain extraction grids with absolute technical mastery. The narrative tracking grid zeroes in on the highly volatile, calculation-heavy baseline of our central elite operative Rachel Hatch, operating under a severe, calculation-heavy handicap of deep-seated historical trauma vulnerabilities, a transient lifestyle, and a hyper-visible targeting profile by the town's ruling administrative capos. Behind Rachel's rigorous mountain footprints and tense investigative ledger logs lies an intricate matrix of hidden faction allegiances, deeply buried municipal secrets, and sharp, high-stakes tactical maneuvers. Rachel's collective defense mechanisms are locked down tight behind a lifetime of leading elite military law enforcement deployments, her entire analytical focus strictly consumed by monitoring sudden threat factors from local enforcers, parsing complex behavioral shifts from her powerful cold allies, and shielding her vulnerable sanctuary nodes from being entirely wiped out by a ruthless elite cleanup offensive. The sparking nights when an unexpected high-frequency structural anomaly breaches her active scanning perimeter, a series of accidental deaths and missing person reports instantly cross-references with high-level calculated malice designed to guarantee a state-sponsored regional data suppression. As the hostile syndicate's mobilization phases enter an increasingly lethal terminal tier across the ridgelines, a series of suspicious evidence sabotage attempts, targeted witness intimidation setups, and calculation-heavy midnight trail ambushes threaten to permanently eliminate Rachel from the active living civilian registry. The official diagnostic metrics of the global tracking centers flash white-hot when her defensive investigative maneuvers and raw physical combat output reveal that her initial operational alignment is radically, impossibly altering the mountain's historical balance of power. The standard boundaries of routine local jurisdiction and peaceful town compliance protocols crumble, and our central protagonist runs completely out of standard diplomatic escape vectors. She is thrust directly into an active, invisible war across the Colorado wilderness, where deceptive political houses, highly manipulative land developers, and a calculation-heavy law enforcement syndicate launch aggressive countermeasures to permanently suppress her survival data stream. The tactical parameters instantly explode as their historical and survival warfare turns completely active, transforming the local sheriff stations, dark forest sniper perimeters, and private fortified
cabin safe houses into a volatile psychological pressure cooker and a physical battle zone. Our protective veteran protagonist is forced to deploy her massive intuitive tradecraft, elite tactical environmental mapping skills, and raw physical combat stamina to repair her perimeter and secure true institutional advancement before the next systemic judicial realignment permanently deletes her mission file. When deceptive regional red herrings, corrupted land deeds, and calculation-heavy tactical ambushes launch aggressive plays to delete her path, her survival instincts engage their final deployment tracks. Every midnight archival excavation, every silent choice to stand off against a dirty deputy behind standard security barriers, and every intense moment of channeling raw, unyielding survival mechanics chips away at her reliance on original peaceful rules. What follows is an exceptional, high-stakes war of perspective, tactical position, and raw human grit. We watch the Mountain Elite's deceptive perimeters completely unwrapped as the authors reveal that the true victory requires more than just surviving an initial ambush or managing a hostile interrogation. It demands an absolute, uncompromising defense of individual dignity, personal truth, and systemic survival against a cold, calculating machine of institutional hierarchy and high society supremacy. While our protagonists smooth over each other's psychological and defensive blind spots with devastating analytical force, creating a fiercely protective, absolute web of dark possessive loyalty around their union, a brutal series of close-quarters tactical confrontations and high-stakes evidentiary breakthroughs shifts the clock into its terminal phase, proving that historical emotional hazards have tracked them to their final outpost. To survive the impending lock grid trap and permanently secure her sanctuary, our resilient heroine must unleash an absolute, unyielding defense of her final boundary lines. It is a rogue justice thriller, small-town mystery suspense, military investigator drama, and high-velocity mountain noir masterpiece that treats deep relational logistics and intense structural friction with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp, calculation-heavy intensity. We're talking about that high-frequency, one whispered threat triggers a fatal forest showdown energy, where a sudden pause during an active franchise tactical briefing, an unexpected shift in an adversary's protective physical posture during a high-stakes standoff confrontation, or a heavy possessive realization that an elite intelligence operative has completely mapped your personal coordinates carries massive structural weight. Ryan and Shea write with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, perfectly capturing the heavy, oppressive atmosphere of a private executive vault before a major corporate takeover, and the distinct, subtle scent of polished mahogany, expensive firearm residue, pine needles, cold mountain air, wood smoke, spilled copper, and pure, unadulterated suspense. What truly elevates the series' continuation into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to balance complex, high-stakes community dynamics and genuine protective power tradecraft alongside a breathtaking narrative pace and deep emotional hooks. Our protagonists don't rely on unbelievable, superficial Hollywood superhero action tropes. Their immense situational intelligence, strategic patience, and profound survival instincts match the complexity of the chaotic modern corporate and high society underworld they dominate step for step, making their choices to risk everything feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense conversational standoffs and breathtaking tactical breakthroughs before ratcheting up to an absolute jaw-dropping conclusion that delivers total, hard-earned advancement to their horizon. Downburst is the definitive pro-level upgrade your high-stakes action fiction and intense asset suspense library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unputdownable. It proves that when your entire sanctuary is targeted by a cold, calculating institutional monster, the most revolutionary play you can execute is to lock your perimeters, trust your elite survival training, and fight like hell alongside your network to rewrite the data. So secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your emotional defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to track the fleet.